What is up? And I cannot stress this enough, my gamers. Welcome back to another J Martinez video. Today we're going to be doing another ride and review, but we got to start this one at the desk because this one actually requires an install. What we're doing is the Filmore tubeless valves. Quick note, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, and I'm trying to come up with a good 100 subscriber special, but if you subscribe, it really helps out and it really makes me happy. These are very interesting because MSRP on these is $50. And I've been looking at these for a long time, but they dropped the price to $26 right before Christmas. So I finally got some, and I'm gonna be installing them and then hopefully riding. It rained a lot last night, so the trails that I wanted to ride are closed. But yeah, so first we're gonna go over what the design philosophy behind these is. So they claim two big things. The first one is high flow and the second one is no clog. So if we look at their little diagram here, and they're comparing it to a typical tubeless valve stem, they're claiming that it has a much more open space for air to go through. Now, in terms of benefits, it might make it a little easier to pump up or a little faster to pump up with an air compressor, but other than that, I don't really see much of a benefit there. But their design is very different from the typical valve stem. So the typical valve stem uses what's called a valve core, and it has a little screwy bit in order to seal it off. So if you take out this valve core, fun fact, on most multi-tools, this little gap in the chain tool, most of the time, it is a valve core remover. But if you take out this valve core, you can see this part does all the magic, while this is just a threaded tube, and you can actually see straight through there. Now what this does is that when this little top part is unscrewed, this can move, and when your pump comes in, it pushes this in, which moves this rubber stopper away from the end and allows air to flow through. Now, what these do is these take this little component and use the whole body of the valve core. And the interesting thing about that is that it actually takes the cap is very important. So these, instead of the seal being on the end of the valve core with that O-ring at the bottom, it is at the end of the valve completely. As you can see, I can move it, and it really is just two pieces: the outer sleeve and this little piece in the middle that moves. The idea is that when the cap is off, air pressure will keep this closed and keep a seal until you want to pump it up, and the pump will push this piece in, which will open this piece, and then you can pump through the whole tube. And then when you're done pumping, the air pressure should push it back and seal it. And then this cap is very interesting because you can see there's kind of two sets of threads on the top part. There's these black threads, and then there's these threads on the little silver knob. And this cap actually engages both of them. You can see down in there's a smaller set of threads, and this outer part has a bigger set of threads. So first, when you're putting it on, the big set of threads engages, and as you screw it in, if you watch that back piece, the smaller set of threads will engage, and it'll actually suck that back piece in. See? And then once you're tightened, this can't move because it's mechanically held by the cap. So this cap is really, really important for the operation, which is not true for your typical valve stem and valve core setup. One big disadvantage to this system that I see is that it's kind of easy to break these. This little gold threaded rod in the middle is really easy to bend, and when you bend it, it never really works the same again. You can see this one's a little bent. It's kind of bent like that. But these are really easy to replace. You can literally get these off of old tubes. It's really a universal system. But these, like if this bends, I don't know what I'd do, but I assume that it's much nicer because it's a $50 set of valve stem. And I'm going to try to replace, I'm going to show you replacing one of my valve stems on my wheel. This is just a valve stem that I carry around whenever I go bike packing, in case something happens to my other ones. Let's see if we can do this at the desk. I might have to go into the workshop though. We'll see though. Okay, so we have my wheel and we have the valve stem installed. This is a tubeless wheel. First, you gotta let all the air out. You can see this little valve mechanic working. So the air pressure is forcing it out, but when I push it in, I'll hold this up next to it. It's opening the little rubber inside it. And then if I were to screw it shut, it would force that little rubber piece closed. Break the bead. First, actually, you gotta unscrew. They all have these little retaining things. There you go. You have to take this off. Now you gotta break the bead all the way around, because the bead of the tire, there's literally like a wire in there, so it doesn't like to stretch. And so the way tubeless rims work, there's kind of like a channel in the middle. Like this is what the cross section of the rim would look like. And so you're trying to get the tire down into the center, that bead down into the center of the channel, so that it can pop over. Now, see the other side of our valve stem. There it goes. Old valve stem. New valve stem. Unscrew this. Take off this retaining piece. And then put this into the hole. Okay. Get the bead over it. These new valve stems stick out way more right here than the old ones did. I'm gonna use a tire lever. There we go. Now we take our little nut, and it actually says on the instructions of all valve stems, you always want to hand tighten these. And if you're having problems with the seal around the base, then it's probably a problem with something else. Either there's not enough sealant in your tire, or you got like a bad valve stem or something. Because it's really tempting to try to get some pliers and tighten that up, but you don't want to do that. Okay, now I'm gonna put the cap on, and I'm really scared of losing these caps because they really are essential for the function of these, because that's how you get that mechanical lock. There it is. That looks pretty sick. Now we're gonna go downstairs and use the air compressor to hopefully seat this really easily. Come on, baby. There we go. It's all pumped up. And as you can see, wow. I think it made it easier to pump up the bigger flow. Cause 30 PSI went in there real fast. That y'all saw how short I held it. That put 30 in it. So I can get that sealed up. You can see I put some more sealant in the tire because it was dry. Now, what is going to happen next is I'm going to do the other tire off camera, and then I'm going to hopefully go on a ride and test these out and give you my thoughts at the end of it. So yeah, we'll see you probably tomorrow because it is rainy outside today. And here we are we're at Big Creek Trail because it's raining. It's also like 40 degrees. You can see I got my bike in the back, baby. I'm sitting in the warm car procrastinating basically. I'm gonna ride for 3 hours, so 3 full loops of everything in a bit, and then I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts on the Filmore tubeless valves. So yeah, let's go do that. Quick note, it is 40 degrees and it was like just raining. You can see there's like water on my windshield. So I am not excited, and I don't know why God hates it whenever I want to ride. See, it just started raining again. I don't know if y'all can tell. Okay, I'm back. I just did a 3-hour ride, did about 27 miles on the trail, and they did great. I didn't lose any pressure or anything. And I see these as a product for 2 types of people. One, someone who wants the notes on the back of the box, which is high flow and no clog. The way they're designed, I can't imagine they'd ever clog with sealant, and they do have higher flow because I noticed it when I was pumping up with their air compressor, and they're probably going to be easier to pump up with a bike pump. The second is a person who wants to have the best of everything, because these are $50, and you can see it in the construction, especially with what I said in the beginning about that little stem bending. I don't believe that would happen, at least not as easy with these, because their stem is thicker just based on the design, and I think they're going to be more durable. Some downsides: it's a proprietary design, so if you wanted to replace this out on the trail, it would be nearly impossible with stuff that you see, stuff that you find at a bike shop, without replacing the whole stem. You're not able to replace just the valve core. And also the fact that the valve cap is integral to the seal, because it's what pulls that O-ring down into the back of it inside your rim. So you can't lose the valve cap, which isn't true for a normal valve. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. If you subscribed it, subscribe it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.